I started living in a van in 2012. I was out in Los Angeles and going to grad school. I lived with a bunch of guys in a house, and I was like, I hate paying rent, which I think everybody feels that way. I was in California, flew home to Virginia for Christmas, telling my dad, man, like, I'm getting tired of paying rent. And I had like heard of people living in vans, and I said, I've been thinking about living in a van. And he said, your uncle has one, his brother.
It's Uncle Dean.
Like, his name's Uncle Dean. Nate's met him.
They're twins.
He's wild. He was like, my dad was like, Dean will probably sell you his van for like next to nothing. So I think I got it for like $300 or something. Me and my grandfather, just like, he's a carpenter, my grandfather, just built like cabinets and a bed, and I just like went for it. I just drove that bad boy back to California, and I have lived in a van since then. In California, Arizona, Colorado, and now New York.
Cool. Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
I'm Nate. I also live in a van. I feel like it's like a eight.
He talks loud all the time, and now he's not.
So I've been living in my van for about 2 years. I've lived in a truck and a truck camper before that for a little while, and I've transitioned from the trucks to an apartment, and then I was like, I don't like this, and then to a truck camper, and now to a big Sprinter van. And it has allowed me to travel throughout the country and rock climb and just be very free and move around and not pay rent. Even though people think I'm crazy, they're like, you own a house, but you don't want to live in it? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Friends live there, and I just travel in the van. And I've been in New York for about six months now.
Yeah.
Since late September. We're going to get into the details of hot weather, which it's starting to be in a little bit. But I've lived throughout many states before the van. Also, I was in the Army, and I was a foster kid, so I grew up kind of different. And also, I look different now. But
You weren't born like that?
yeah. But so yeah, no matter how hard you think your life is, it might be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been here, my van for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'd say. His is 6.
I've been living in a van about 6 years.
I've been 2.
Yeah.
Cool.
Our vans are very different.
But they're both Sprinters, but
They're
just
both
earlier one
Sprinter
and a
vans.
newer one.
Mine's a 2005. I have nothing fancy in my van at all. I'm a good carpenter, and that's it. I'm not a good mechanic. I'm not good with electricity. So I've got like cool cabinets and a bed that folds out and a desk and all this stuff. Other than that, I'm like peeing in jugs, cooking on a camping stove.
It's a lot easier, to be honest, than having a full bathroom.
Yeah,
in my opinion, in his opinion.
Yeah.
But, so our other buddy Doss has a full bathroom, and it's amazing. He has hot showers and has a full bathroom.
He won't talk ever to a camera.
Yeah, but it's all preference in that aspect of hygiene, especially. And that's a big subject with van life in New York City is hygiene and showering and going to the bathroom. We both rock climb. I rock climb a little bit more, but we live right outside of. Out of or next to climbing gyms, or if you have membership to any gym, it's very easy to shower and be very hygienic, not have to worry about even having a bathroom because you can walk out at 6, 7 in the morning and there's always a bathroom.
Yeah.
And a shower.
Yeah, we both
working
use the same gym. It's open from 7 a.m. to midnight, so
it's pretty easy.
It's like a block away I park from. So.
Yeah. Where else do we go from here? Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's get some questions from people just to make it a little. Does anybody have any questions about? There we go.
Oh man.
Either one.
How big do you think the NYC van life community is?
I think it's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Not only do we know each other, but we have friends that are also at the gym. Doss, Pranav, Michael. My buddy Trent passed through. It's pretty big. I mean, as far as just van lifing, as far as rock climbing out of that gym, it's probably like 6 or 7 of us. But yeah, it's fun.
How is the parking and staying situation?
Okay, so we're going to go 2 things over that. Legality of parking in New York City, and then for me, it's been very easy to do in my Sprinter van and his van
Me
as
too.
well,
It's
because
been very
they're
easy.
both pretty stealth. They don't actually look like giant,
Right.
like
Right.
full-on
They
Winnebago
look
guys.
like work vans. Like,
They look like work vans, but when you open up inside, you're like, oh, it's like you live in here.
yeah.
In comparison, I have a school bus as well in New York City, and that thing gets, it gets tagged about, it's been tagged about
Yeah,
twice in the
police
last
are
month,
just on that thing.
because you're not allowed to leave a vehicle more than 7 days in New York City in one spot. But if you're incognito, they don't really care. But if that
Right.
van's there and it's like the tires are low and it's dusty, like they're gonna notice.
Wait, so
Yeah.
where are you parking for 7 days in a row?
Oh, we have spots in LIC and Queens
so-
and Brooklyn that you just find these like little niche spots. We have a couple unicorn spots that we like to call them that
Yeah.
he had his van there for like 3-4 months and it didn't even get
It's
bugged.
been there now for a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but once we put the school bus there, they started getting mad and they
Yeah.
noticed it. And it was only because the DOT hit it with a snowplow. So yeah,
No,
so
yeah.
that's what
So
we call a
that's what-
unicorn
right.
spot, where you don't have to move the vehicle because there's no street sweeping signs. No, not in ours. I mean,
I've
I know
got
a lot
no
of big
windows.
vans don't.
We've
Yeah,
got
I don't
no
have any
windows.
windows either.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just completely.
Well,
creepy.
I have two big 14 by 14 inch vents or fans that are about 5 feet apart, so I do get light in from
Yeah.
the top. But
Sean? Oh no, that I
They
don't
don't
tell
know.
anyone at the school.
They
that I
don't
live
know.
in there.
everybody else
No
knows
way.
except for them.
No way. I've had teachers see me like on the street and they're like, "Wow, that's a big car," and I'm like,
Yeah. It's actually pretty fuel efficient too.
Sean?
I think it's preference whether you want to pay for diesel or gas or the size, like because they all come in different shapes and sizes and price ranges.
Yeah, obviously, my first van that I lived in, I could not stand up in it, and that's totally unsustainable and terrible. You got to find a van you can stand in, which Dodge Sprinter, Mercedes Sprinter is like
They're the same
kinda-
Freightliner. They're all
Yeah,
the
they're
same.
like all owned by the same. They started the like standing van thing.
They have
but-
a mid and a high, and I could stand in it. And there's a couple people in here that is my height, and I could stand in it easy with. I got a good headroom.
Yeah, like we can stand in these vans. Like if you're like 6'3", 6'4", you probably just don't want to live in a van.
So you might be stressing. You might be stressing over everybody. But I mean, whatever. I have friends that are taller than me, and they have ones that they just walk on their knees inside it. So it's like. Mine is, yeah. His is not. And that's another thing we're gonna talk about is weather. New York is either very hot or very cold or kind of temperate.
Yeah.
Mine's insulated and wood trim, paneling, and everything, and it helps a lot.
does,
But when
yeah.
it gets super hot, like right now, if I were to try to go in the van, the ambient temperature is gonna be too hot until like 9 or 10 o'clock. Mine's like a foam board. You ever seen the pink foam board from Home Depot? And it's cut into panels, and then the gaps are kind of filled with an insulation, like a spray foam. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I was wondering about like electricity usage and how you generate it.
I have full solar on the top of mine, 200 amps and 200 watts, 200 amp hour batteries. They're not lithium. Those are really expensive. They're, AGM batteries. And when I first got here in New York, I was able to run a fridge until it got too hot. Because there's so many buildings, I didn't have full sun. And the problem with having full sun the whole time is the van gets really hot and the fridge has to run a lot more. But you could still, I could charge all my electronics as far as computers, laptops, all of that, lights
Do you
inside.
think that's too hot even with the
The
insulation?
insulation, yeah, oh yeah, it will. It
I mean,
definitely
the
will.
air outside.
The ambient temperature is
85
still
degrees all day.
heating everything. So AC is another thing. Like people are like, why don't you get an AC? I can't run it off solar. You need a generator and then a unit on top, which is doable and nobody really cares outside.
What's your monthly expenses?
Well, okay, for van life, it's different than because I like have a house and for my van it's very low. It's probably just food and gas and the insurance. It's probably under $500.
Yeah,
But my other stuff, like as far as like credit card, I mean, everybody has their own personal debt problems. But as far as specific van life, depending on how much I drive, the insurance, it's probably under $500.
yeah, I'd say if
And tickets, like if you know where to
you
park
gotta
or not
just
to
work
park.
that into your budget too.
Yeah, and a lot of
Yeah.
times people go like, well, what about parking somewhere you get a ticket? I mean, ticket for rent, you're paying $1,500, $2,000 a month for rent. You stay in the same spot, you get $45 a week ticket.
whatever. Yeah.
What is this? $180? That's like useless.
I'm the same. My expenses are probably 500. I mean, if
Sorry?
that's all I had, and I was like gonna die or spend 500 a month, I could do it.
Yeah.
So, I take it you may have running water in your vans?
No.
I do have the capability with like this helio bladder thing, but I prefer not to have it. It takes up space.
What, do any of your friends live two to a van?
Yeah. I mean, have
Two people at once, like a couple or
living
two
in a
friends.
van. I've heard of that. I mean,
Yeah, we don't. It's just easier for us. The school bus is a little easier for us to both live on with the heating capabilities and the cooling capabilities. That's different.
that's a whole different subject.
Um,
the school bus.
I have had friends that have had girlfriends for short periods of
Me
time.
too. That's
come
the
in.
thing. Yeah.
But sometimes,
Last long.
yeah. I think it's a little easier for, and to be honest, like as a male to do it versus having a female, because
Yeah.
you generally want full bathrooms and there's
Yeah,
times of the month.
You've got
But
a tube
yeah,
attached.
I have seen it. It's not totally impossible. It's just a little you have to find ways to do it.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think-
impossible.
Yeah.
Katie,
Oh.
sorry, I know her name.
Do you guys have a dream van?
My dream van is the 170 extended 4x4 version of Mercedes Sprinters, which are like
the same. That's my dream van,
$70,000.
too.
They're like totally ridiculous.
they're
Save yourself
so
30 and
long.
don't get 4x4. Go with 170 non-extended.
Yeah, both of us right now have about
About the same size.
like 10 foot long
10'4"?
by
Yeah.
6 foot wide, six
Yeah.
6.5 foot tall living space.
Yeah.
But Sprinter makes like a
A longer.
14 foot or 13 or 14 foot long. And I mean,
Or
that's
just a Sprinter with a
huge.
box truck. That'd be cool. I'm just kidding. Don't
Yeah, I
do it.
mean, my dream van is a house.
Again, it's off what are you gonna do with it? Efficiency for gas mileage or more for staying in New York City for space? I would say do the Sprinter with a box truck version on it. If you're gonna do more of the traveling for gas mileage, do like the mid-size Sprinter. It's more aerodynamic and you get better gas mileage. Yeah, and the mid-size one is still 3.5 foot longer than mine, which would help for having a full bathroom if I wanted it, and
our
even a
friend-
bigger kitchen. What do we do
Oh.
for when it's really hot out?
What do you do when it's hot outside? I'm repeating him repeating.
Yeah. So what he normally does, I normally don't stay in New York City, but I've been here for school and just got done with culinary school today for 2 months. We leave for the hot periods.
Yeah,
But
I
you
leave.
totally
We
can
leave.
stay. You just need a generator and a small generator and an AC unit. But at night it gets about 9, 10 o'clock. I don't know what time you guys go to sleep. Yeah, you have to go in there at a nice ambient temperature. I have a hammock also in mine, so it's
You
easy
stay
to.
cooler in a hammock.
Yeah.
You don't have the insulation under you in the bed.
So either generator or run the fans, but again, those run off solar, so it's just moving hot air around you.
I still haven't been hot at night yet.
Yeah, it's been a month or two. Dogs? So I do have a dog, but I also have Aaron, who's a really good friend, and his best friend. When it gets too hot or too cold, she's been taking care of her. So it's a little harder to do in New York City, especially if you're not able to be there for work and keep her cool. My dog's name is Tortilla. To keep her cool, or in the winter when it was too cold, to keep it warm because we have a wood burning stove or propane heaters. So you can't really leave her alone for that. It's a little hard. That even again, having two, a little more hard. Having a dog and two people, I think that'd be like the hardest thing to do
Yeah.
in New York City. But if you're traveling following the warmth, you're totally fine because you're following the warmth. You can leave her in there for a couple hours at a time. So.
Yes.
So, with that said, is there like a shelf life in New York City? Like, you've been here for like 3 months?
I've been here since
for
September.
2.5 years.
Okay.
Um,
But for yourself?
For me, well, we're gonna leave during the summer on a motorcycle trip on
Yeah.
the 21st. So we're gonna leave for the hot periods. And I'm coming back to start school again about the time he starts school again. So I got about another 2 years. So I'm gonna deal with it. And our good friend Casey, who he's known for many years, she loves my dog, and she's just like, you can't take her back. I'll be like, I'm gonna take her this weekend. She loves her. So it's kind of, yeah.
I don't think there's a shelf life. This is something we've like often talked about and kind of been amazed about, is that living in a van in New York City is easier than anywhere I've lived.
Any
in.
other state. Yeah.
You just
like,
step out of your van and there's a
nobody
bodega
cares.
anywhere you go.
As far as food or like climbing gyms that are always open
Yeah,
for
there's
me.
so many climbing gyms.
Yeah.
And there's just so much everything.
Yeah, everything. It's a lot easier.
Sean asked, what are some best practices for traveling van life going about?
In my opinion,
A lot of water.
you got to be nice and have a lot of water.
Have a lot of water.
You can't show up at every place and expect to be accepted, you know, or maybe be more to yourself until you figure out that, you know, the community. Like I've had people walk by in New York City and be like, oh, that's cool. Oh, you live in there? I want to see. And then I've also been in places where they're like, do you live in there? Like, you can't sleep here. You can't be here. And it's like, all right, like, my bad. Sorry. I'll move on. Don't get offensive. Don't be mean. The more you're casual and nice to people, it's a lot easier to get through life.
That is so true.
Especially in a van, because some people are like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to live in a van? It's like, because it's comfortable to me, and that's why. And I like doing it for many reasons. But
So the same rules that apply to all life apply to van life. Just be kind. Be
Sean's
considerate.
got another one.
Sean?
This young
Oh
lady-
no,
this young
someone
lady right here?
knew. Which?
Oh,
What's your name? Sam just asked what we do about not having an address.
so I have a legal address in Minnesota because I own a house there.
And I have a legal address in Virginia at my sister's house.
Yeah, but again, it's not that hard to, I wouldn't say manipulate the system per se, where you need a physical address or even a PO box. If you need somewhere to collect mail or to get stuff you're ordering off Amazon, you can order it to friends' house.
Yeah,
or,
you meet
like,
people.
It's not the hardest thing, but it at some places like where they require residency, it's a little harder. But again, it's not that hard to do. Yeah. So a license is like something you have to pass the test.
You gotta have a license to have a car.
Yeah. But I would hope you would get that before you started it, and then you just maintain that. You maintain that license.
That guy.
I think I remember hearing somewhere that you could tap into the electrical grid through lampposts.
No, I wish.
I've never heard that. So
I've never tried to be zapped by those, but I'd rather do solar. Or you could make your van
I wanna
ground
restate
sure.
the question, mate.
Oh, sorry.
He just asked if
I
you
would
could-
never try. That would suck. Like, what if you got
What would suck, Nate?
getting zapped? Okay, go ask it.
He just asked if you could tap into like New York City's electrical system. No way.
I would.
Through the lamppost.
I
I've
would-
never heard of that.
I would say if you have a death wish, you could try it. That would. Yeah, we're not that far
I
into
would
getting
never-
zapped.
Even if it were possible, I would not want to have an extension cord like running from
To my van.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Because then the cops would be like, all right, man, that's
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah. No, that would suck a lot. Anybody been zapped by like a 110? No, it sucks. He's like, I have.
Katie?
Ooh,
Sean
do they?
asked, when you're pulling into a town, where is the best place to park your vehicle? That's cracking Max up.
So if you don't know anybody, I would say, is it big enough town to have a Walmart? Because a lot of Walmarts are cool.
Walmart.
If you don't go to
Walmart.
parks.
Yeah,
'cause
they're
it looks
looking
a little
for you
different.
to park.
Yeah.
Wherever you thought as a kid that you should go to do something, don't go there.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. Honestly, it could be any street. It could be I would prefer a more well-lit street that has semi-moderate traffic, even in the middle of the night, but not on a street where you park and there's cars like. Anybody been to those small like towns where it goes like 50, 60 mile an hour and then it's like 35 mile an hour and then through that town? Park one off of that. Because you don't want that drunk guy coming through that town and not seeing that 35 mile an hour sign, so park one off. Because you don't want to be rear-ended.
Yeah.
I generally try to park where there's not a lot of flow of traffic, but I'm really close to a main vein. And that's just me being weary of getting rear-ended by
I agree, though.
any
Absolutely.
kind of vehicle. Mine's, I would say module.
What's the cooking situation? That's the question.
Mine's module as far as like, it's pretty close to like a camping aspect where I could pop it up. I could do it, and I have a water bladder thing that I could pump up and do dishes off of. And when I'm done with it, I can fold it down and move it aside or get it out of the way, and then I have my countertop space back. A lot of vans like have them fully integrated where they're always there, or it's something that covers it and you can still have counter space. It's all preference and how much you're going to use it. If you're going to use it every morning for coffee, you don't want to have to move stuff out of the way to do it. But
Yeah.
it's
Mine's
preference.
the same as his. It's a camping stove. You pull it out.
It's modular.
You just use it.
Throw it away.
And put it away.
There's an interesting contrast between your vans. Like yours is very you
Primitive.
don't have electricity.
Yeah, his is a little
Yeah,
more
no.
primitive.
Yours
Yeah.
is like,
Mine's a little newer and a little more built out, insulated walls.
He's got more money than me.
yes.
Hey.
I dance well.
I noticed with like following like YouTube Vanlife people is like it's very they make it super fancy like a tiny home, and I always feel like that's such a high
It's-
mark.
it's
a way-
It's so intimidating. And just
Yeah.
getting started, what do you guys recommend just to like?
Go.
I've been thinking about this for the past 10 minutes. That's a great question. You can just
Get it.
the question. It was a complicated question, but basically, what's your name?
Isaac.
Isaac is basically asking like, he's saying online there's like this standard of people who are trying to like be.
They just pop up
hashtag
and they have this
famous
really
van life.
amazing van.
This incredible van with like
Nah.
1 million solar panels and all this crazy stuff. Well, like, what if you don't have a lot of money or you just got a van? Like, how do you just enter,
I have a story on that. That's good.
just enter into that lifestyle? And like, the contrast between our vans, I think, is a good example of that. Like, if you don't have a fancy van, like my
Or you
van-
don't even need it. Like you don't even to live it. Like yours isn't as fancy as mine, but he doesn't need it to
You don't
like.
need it, right?
Yeah,
like my
it's like-
van is like we like charge the battery every time I need to start it. And we like pray for it to start. Like.
But he doesn't.
I got
yeah.
like rust holes in the top of my van, no insulation. I fill up my water bottles at the gym. I pee in a jug. Like
It's different contrast. He doesn't
Like-
travel as much as I do
yeah,
or drive
like,
around
but I
as
can't
much.
drive
He's
as
living
much.
in
Yeah,
it here.
because it might
and
not
climbing.
start. But like
It does start every time it's the battery. It's a
That's
problem
true.
because
It's-
there's
yeah,
a
it's not-
there's
yeah.
a draw coming up somewhere. But
yeah,
it's a-
right. Yeah. So, but like, and my first van was a piece of crap too. But like, I got it for like nothing from my uncle. And if you want to do it, you just do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's up to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to ice skate on like dull ice skates that are from the '80s, you just do it. It's if you want to do it, you do it. Like,
Do you feel like it's sort of a fluid thing where if like you wanted to improve it, you would just do
Yeah.
that? Like,
It-
yeah, there's a ceiling on
That's
that.
how mine
would
is.
you recommend just like starting out simple and kind of adding on? Or
That's how I did it.
Me
so
too. Yeah.
I bought this house in Minnesota. I lived in it for a few months, and I was like, I don't want to live back in a house. I took my truck camper back to California, traded it in for a brand new Sprinter. It was empty. It was a shell, but I was able to do that in San Diego because you could just live on a sleeping mat in the sleeping bag if it
Exactly.
got cold in it. And I just built it out from there. It took me about 3 or 4 months to make it to what it is in today. And it took
Same.
time, and it also money. Like I had to wait for paychecks to come in to put in furniture and like build furniture and then insulation and dynomat and like the solar. And a lot of this stuff you had to kind of have to do at once as far as the solar and insulation because you got to cut holes in it and then you insulate it and then you put the walls down and you run your LEDs. So mine took time, whereas his is just a shell and then he put in furniture and he lives in it. Mine took months of just building it out. But it wasn't like, I bought this van and then 4 months Instagram like later, you know,
Yeah,
it wasn't like the
million
next
time-lapse
one,
videos.
the next post was like, oh, here's my fucking tip-top van.
Are you guys planning to vote in the 2020 presidential election?
No.
am.
Negative. I'll vote for whoever he votes for, to be honest. I was in the army
No,
for
but
many
would
years. I
imagine it
don't.
would take a lot more planning since you're registered in a particular state.
Oh,
Oh,
And
you
if
get
you
an
talked about
absentee
it in the
ballot.
elections,
Yeah.
it would be very impressive to those who think it's very important.
I'm not politically at all interested.
Politically at all.
At all. Yeah.
That's
I don't
very
know.
dangerous.
But yeah, but
He's off
I don't know.
grid completely.
whatever he votes for. Actually, it's whatever my mom would be like, you should vote for that.
Adam asked, like, what's the like price point, like getting into van life if you're on a budget, basically.
It's hard to say. It's whatever your price
it's
point
not
is.
hard to say.
Like, what do you make a year?
I mean, my first van I got
500.
almost for like $300-400 from my uncle. My current van I got for $5,500. But I mean, again, it's got a lot of miles and it's old.
But
I mean,
it
it
saved
works.
them a lot of money. That's kind of a hard one to say for me, in my opinion, because I was in the Army and I got out and now I've gone to college and I get a disability from them. So I have a stable monetary income no matter what. And then I have a house and I make money from that. So mine was like, I could afford a brand new Sprinter and it'll still be cheaper than paying rent in the 80
Scenario.
scenario.
How much do you drive? Because I know if you drive your van more traveling, then it might break down a little bit.
Yeah.
More often.
So I bought my van brand new and it's got probably 40,000 miles on it and I've had it for like 2 years. The only time it didn't really break down, I was just in Denver and a light turned on and I took it to the dealership and they were like, oh, it was a water pump? I think it was a water pump that like went bad, but it was under warranty and they switched it out. Other than that, it's just like basic maintenance. Sprinters have it's every like 10,000, 15,000 miles intervals for their class A, B, C. General maintenance is all what you do with it. I mean, if it recommends 5,000 miles for an oil change, do it at 3 and it'll last a lot longer.
But every vehicle
It's
has
different,
like
yeah.
quirks
Or problems
and
or-
things that typically go wrong. I've had some like god awful scenarios.
His van
with my
has
van.
almost close to 400,000.
My van has
and
over
mine's got
400,000
yeah.
miles.
Yeah.
I have
And mine has only 40. Yeah, and his van like still it's the battery that won't let it start. Once you charge the battery and put it in, it's like whoa.
diesel.
Yeah.
One time
It
I
goes,
like,
dude.
Probably, what?
Yeah, both of
Both
ours
of
are
ours.
diesels. Yeah.
One time I like started my van and the key broke in the ignition. That was like a month-long, insane like quest to fix it. Like me and my dad, like a Dremel and a drill and like taking things apart on the phone with people from Canada and Germany trying to find parts. Like,
Every vehicle is going to have their maintenance
But it-
quirks.
you're right. But again, like
We're also not trying to sell Mercedes
You're not-
Sprinters at all. We're just saying that's what we both live
we're
in.
not trying to sell
know,
Mercedes. But,
Everything's
like,
going to have a problem somewhere
like,
or another.
again, you're saving money like every month. Like if you're just saving some money, like I don't know, like an $800 like mechanic bill is like still rent.
Oh,
She raised her hand first.
Rochambeau.
And then
For us, independently? Ooh. I think the hardest thing for me is and it's only because of New York City, is my drawback of New York City, is I'm used to living in the van with my dog or being able to leave her for 2 or 3 hours and she'll be fine because the ambient temperature is great. But in New York City, like there's only a few days not a few days, but if it's too hot or too cold, I can't leave her. And to have even a few minutes of free time to be away from her, she's like 9 years old now. She's totally fine. But to me, it's temperature or like being able to like come into like AC controlled places. But if you're not in a place like New York City, it's totally fine because you could just follow the warmth. To me, that's it. Hygiene, sanitation, or like having to go to the bathroom or cooking. It's like I camp every day and I'm just used to it.
yeah, like I would say honestly, same. Like temperature control is the most difficult
Yeah.
thing. Out of
That's about it.
anything, that's the hardest thing for sure.
I was gonna say you're not insulated, so
He's not.
heater in the winter.
We
I
have
do a
propane
heater,
heaters. Yeah.
Heat's easier. Yeah. you can
Cold is fine. Winters are actually
Yeah,
a lot easier
no
to
big
do
deal.
than summer.
Yeah.
Why diesel?
So,
Engines last longer.
well, I have a difference of opinion in his diesel versus my diesel. They're both Sprinters. His is a pre-2007, and federal regulation in the United States for diesel has to have like emission systems on it. So his engine is like close to 400,000. Mine will probably not make that because of the emission systems that's on it. And that's a whole Volkswagen, all that. I don't know if you guys know about diesels. Yeah, it's a difference in opinion. I really like the diesel because it was really good gas mileage, but
Right.
it doesn't mean it's going to have the longevity of the engine just because of that.
It used to mean that.
It
though.
used, yeah, but again, it's like preference. I liked the Sprinter, and it just only happened to become. It only came in diesel.
Right. It just
But
used to only be a diesel. That's just how it
2020,
was.
there's a gas engine version
There's
coming.
Ford,
So
Nissan,
it's
and
whatever you
Dodge.
want. It's preference.
So
In my opinion, it's
Yeah.
preference.
Do you take the subway or?
I do every day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every day to go to class, I took the subway for the
Yeah.
last like 5 months.
No.
You don't. I mean, I do go from Brooklyn to
Queens.
LIC or Queens
Yeah.
a lot, but generally I like to keep my part. I'm in the unicorn spot right now, where
Me
there's
too.
a construction spot where they took down the street signs. There's no street sweeping signs. If I leave it there, I don't get tickets. Like I could leave it there for months and wouldn't get tickets.
I'm in a unicorn spot too.
So
I'm not moving.
and
Staying
we're
here.
like a 2-minute walk, or here like 3 or 4 minute walk.
From the train?
Yeah, or either from the F or the N. It's
From the F or the N.
we don't have to
we're right
move.
There, yeah.
so yeah,
Well-
subway is great. I
We can only take one more question. So Max.
How often do you cook food compared to eating out at bodegas and restaurants?
New York City's while I'm in New York City, I probably don't cook at all. Well, I actually I've cooked every day for the last like 5 monts. I was in culinary school. It was the last day today, so I had free food every day.
That depends.
Weekends, yes, I
That
cooked.
depends too on how cold
I
it
didn't
is.
cook.
Like during the winter, I cooked a lot over the winter because I can get food from the store, put it in my like cooler, and know it's not gonna go bad. But now I don't.
Yeah.
And I also work at a school, and they just like
Give you
I had
food.
an elementary school. We have food every day. So.
Can I just really like Sasha. She's cool.
Oh, Sasha's asking a question.
Well, since we're on the topic,
Last question.
That you could.
I don't know if this was the last question, but like, what was your favorite meal to cook over the winter when you were cooking a lot in the van? Like,
Steak and eggs.
were you making
Steak and eggs.